All right, so here's your study guide for angles. So you can classify triangles by their sides or their angles. There's two ways. So I've given examples. I've already written these out for you. So by the sides here are the three ways you can name a triangle. So if all sides are equal or congruent, I think I'll use congruent here, but I mean the same thing. That's called an equilateral triangle. An isosceles triangle has at least two sides that are congruent, and a scalene triangle has no sides that are congruent. So those are the three ways that you can name triangles by sides. By angles, we call it an acute triangle if all angles are less than 90 degrees. We call it equiangular if all angles are congruent. And that is a right triangle if it has one right angle. And it's called an obtuse triangle if it has one angle that is greater than 90 degrees. Okay? So, number one, this has all three sides that are equivalent. So we call this an equilateral triangle. Okay? Number two has two sides that are congruent. We call that an isosceles triangle. Third one has no sides that are equal. So this is called a scalene triangle. And the last one, these two dashes show that these two sides are equal. So this would be an isosceles triangle. So there is numbers 1 through 4 classifying a triangle by its sides. Its angles. So I looked at the angles I'm looking for, either a right angle, which I have on the first one, so this is called a right triangle. This one has an obtuse angle, so this one would be called an obtuse triangle. This one has all angles that are less than 90 degrees, so we call that an acute triangle. And then all three angles are the same. If we're calling it by its angles, we call this equiangular. Okay, so that's how we classify triangles. All right, there's page 1 of your study guide. Page 2. So for these, for number 1, 2, and 3, where you give us two of sides, or two of the angles, and you want the third angle, I think it's easiest to add up the two that you know and subtract from 180. Or you can just take 180 minus 100, and then minus 25. But I'm going to just add up the two that I know. So 100 plus 25 is 125. I'm going to subtract that from 180, and I get that that is 55 degrees. That is the angle that we're missing. That is angle X. Angle Y, add up 25 and 15, that's 40. Subtract that from 180. So that tells you that angle Y is 140 degrees. Okay? Add up the two that you know, subtract it from 180. 138 plus 10 is 148. Subtract it from 180. And you get that angle Z is 32 degrees. Okay? Now, for 4, 5, and 6, this is a little bit more work. Okay, so the thing that you have to know is what was said at the top here is that the sum of all the angles in a triangle equals 180 degrees. So we have to just create an equation and we combine like terms. So I'll put the 1 in front of the A because so you know that that's 1A. 3A, and they just want you to solve for the variable. So we need to know what the value of A is. So 2A plus 3A plus 1A, that is 6A. Well, 6A equals 180 degrees because they're always going to equal 180. Divide both sides by 6, and you get that A is equal to 30 degrees. Or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say 30, just A is equal to 30, and then you could plug that back in, right? That's telling you that 1 times 30, well, that's just 30 degrees. 3 times 30 is 90, although that doesn't look like a 90-degree angle. And then this is 60. So this is a 30, 60, 90 are the three angle measurements. All right. For number 5, looks like we're going to have a two-step equation because we have some b's that we have to add, and we have to add this plus 16. So we have 1b plus 2b is 3b, 3b plus another b, that is 4b plus 16 equals 180. Okay? And now you have to subtract 16, do it to both sides, and you get 4b is equal to 164, and now you have to divide both sides by 4. Okay, and B is equal to 41. Okay. And then you can plug it back in, and you would find the three measurements. Just do a little bit of work. All right, the next one I have 1C, 2C's, 3C's, and then I have negative 20 plus negative 10 is minus 30, equals 180. So then I'm going to add 30 here, and I get that 3C is equal to 210, and divide both sides by 3, and I get that C is equal to 70. All right, that's how you set up an equation solving for a triangle, and we'll do it with angles as well, but the same process. So if you can do it with triangles, just make sure you set it equal, for these, make sure you set it to equal to 180. All right, for the triangle inequality theorem, the sum of two sides of any triangle is always greater than the length of the third side. Has to happen, okay? So this one, you're looking at your two short sides. Unfortunately, they always put the longest side third, but sometimes they mix it up. But when I add these two together, I get 9. That is not greater than 10, so this one is no. 4 plus 5 is 9. That is equal to 9. This is also no. 4 plus 5 is 9. That is greater than 7. So that one is a yes. All right. So there is your triangles. Now let's get into angles. And let's see, what do we got here? Two angles that are next to each other. That's called an adjacent angles and share a common side. Those are said to be adjacent. Supplementary angles, they add up to 180 degrees. And they're called, I don't know what this is, honestly. Maybe a vertical pair or a linear pair. I'll go with linear pair. I'm not real sure, honestly. Okay. Next one, complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. And vertical angles are always equal or congruent. Okay. All right, so knowing that, we can take some information from this one right here. So name two pairs of vertical angles. Well, vertical angles are formed by intersecting lines. So one pair is A and C, and another pair is B and D. Those are said to be vertical angles. A pair of supplementary angles, you have any straight line, right? So you're looking for any straight line. So you could do A and B, B and C, C and D, A and D. Those are all supplementary, but we'll just go with A and B. Okay? So we're going to use that for number 3. So if measure A equals 25 degrees, what's the measurement of angle B? Well, these are supplementary angles here. So we're just going to take 180 minus 25, and that is equal to 155 degrees. And then for part 4, we're going to use our vertical angles. Well, A and C are vertical. Vertical angles are equal. So if A is 25, C is 25. All right. So there is things there. All right. So how do we use the fact that supplementary angles equal 180 and complementary angles equal 90? Well, if we want measurement of angle ABC, these are supplementary. So we just have to take 180 minus 115. So measure of angle ABC is 65 degrees. This one, these are complementary. So we just have to take 90 minus 24, and that is equal to 66 degrees. Okay? So we're going to apply that here. Two angles are complementary. That means 90. So we're just going to take 90 minus 37. That is equal to 53 degrees. Here is the fact that they're supplementary. That's 180. So we take 180 minus 50. So that is equal to 130 degrees. Okay. Now, number 9 is probably the most difficult part here. So here they're telling us that measure of angle 1 is 35 degrees, and they want the other angles. Okay? Well, we could, if this is 90, this is a straight line here. So this is a straight angle. So this is also 90. So to find angle 2 first, that's where I would go first. We just have to take 90 minus 35, which is 55 degrees. Okay? And then we're going to use the fact that these are vertical angles now. So angle 2 is 55 degrees. Angle 3 is 55 degrees. Okay. Next one. Angle 1 is 35 degrees. Okay. Angle 3 is a vertical angle. That is also 35 degrees. And then for angle 2, we take 180 minus 35 because these are supplementary to both. 2 supplementary to 1 and 3. They form 2 straight lines there. So if you subtract those two, subtract 180 minus 35, you get 145 degrees. All right. For C, we're back to some algebra. All right. So these two angles are equal. Okay. So 6x is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. So basically all you have to do to solve for x is you have to divide both sides by 6, because you know that this is 90 as well. And you get that x is equal to 15. And that is the value of x. For this one, a little more, 5 plus 4 is equal to 114. That is your study guide.